Wonderful. Okie dokie, everybody. Hello and welcome to this evening's fountain pen Inkmas 14 days of Inkmas thing. I know what I'm saying. I'm sure I do, right? Welcome all to everybody. Tonight it is the fountain pen challenge with Apurva, and so I'll read a short bio for Apurva and I will let her get going. Apurva joined the FP UK group in early 2020 at the start of maternity leave. Back then, she had 2 Twisby and a Lamy and a few 30ml bottles of Diamine. Since then, she has immersed herself into the hobby and loves learning and researching into the next new thing in the fountain pen world. Over the last year, she has focused her collection to flex nibs and loves testing new papers. She is the creator of #FountainPenChallenge and loves the interaction that comes with it. Her dream would be one day to turn this hobby into a business, maybe a shop owner who gets to use new pens and gets paid to talk pens, ink, and paper every day. I will hand that over to you, Apurva.
Thanks, Hayes. So before I start, I'm going to do a little bit of writing later. So if you guys want to join in, grab yourself a bit of pen and paper, and you can join in or just watch me write. You choose. But I just thought I'd announce that if you want to go grab some pen and paper. So as Hayes said, my name's Apurva. I've been using fountain pens since probably about 2013. So kind of the start of university, but only collecting or going headfirst into the hobby or the rabbit holes of pens and inks in about late 2019 when I joined the group. Fountain Pen Challenge began for me in about July 2020. So I've been doing this for over a year now, which I can't believe. So, but yeah, today I'm just gonna, instead of making a PowerPoint presentation, thought I'd show you some pieces of paper. So these are kind of like my slides. So hopefully you can read it. If you can't, just give me a shout, and then I can probably talk a bit more about what I'm doing. So the first obvious reason why I started kind of the fountain pen challenge was because I wanted to write more. I never personally found it difficult to write or just put pen to paper, but I know a lot of people have like the fear of the blank sheet of paper or kind of getting into what gets them, kind of triggers them to write. So one of the things I used to do when I first started was write quotes. So the other day when Dolly was chatting, I saw this quote and I wrote it down. So I thought I'd put it down as part of the slides today. So earlier on in the hobby, I was asked by many people, fountain pens and non-fountain pen people, what do I do with so much ink and so many pens? My answer was always, I just write. And then the follow-up question was always, what do you write? So I used to write when I got a new pen, when I got a new ink. I used to swatch new inks, make these kind of splatters that you see, just to see how the ink would behave. And I found that really, really fascinating. So I thought, what if I make a list of things that I write and try and share as an inspiration of maybe you can use this and maybe you can use this as like kind of a trigger list. And then I wrote 30 prompts in July 2020, like I said, and I actually vividly remember messaging Bernardo and Noah at the time and saying, can I share this with the group? And I shared it and a few people kept sharing. I also shared on Instagram. So on the first page, I put my Instagram hashtag if you want to follow me there. And then it kind of took off from there. That's it, really. At the beginning, it was just me. I was sharing my pens and inks, but people took to it. So it was more just, like I said, putting pen to paper, not really writing as in showing pretty handwriting, just more putting pen to paper. I find that very therapeutic. So the next thing is, like I said, the around of the interaction and the community that comes with it. So I put my challenge both on Instagram and on the Fountain Pen Challenge, Fountain Pen UK group. A few months in, more and more people joined. I think it really took off at the start of 2021 for me when loads of people started doing it daily, and then people started interacting with each other, which was so nice to see. Also, that sense of community that we already have. It's a really good group of people, and I think we learned a lot from each other by just sharing different things and the different prompts that came in. A few of the challenges, I also asked for some prompt suggestions because it's kind of difficult to keep it non-repetitive after a while since I've been doing this for so long. So loads of people gave me suggestions on what I can write, lots of funny prompts. If you were a nib, what would you be? Those were some fun answers I got. And one of them was to draw a comic sketch, and I remember quite a few of them suggestions there. So yeah, even though I wasn't necessarily able to post my own various reasons, but I always loved kind of interacting with the different people who posted theirs, and it gave me an encouragement to at least write my own, even if I didn't post it. So I'm hoping there are people out there who at least put the pen to paper as a result of these prompts and enjoy the act of writing. If I ask the group of people again what your favorite ink was, we used to get so many answers and so many different people, so many different swatch, people sharing tips how to photograph their inks, or people saying that, oh, I have this ink, but I don't see this shade. And then people started talking about paper. So that interaction gave us such a variety and such a, like, the community that we have here. So the next thing, I guess, for me was routine and habits. So anything with journaling comes with that motivation for you to start writing. Again, I used to find it quite easy back in the day, 2 years ago or so. I used to find it very easy to write. But in the last 6 months, I've struggled with my own habit and my own routine of writing. I know how much it helps me, but I never really actually was able to motivate myself to put pen to paper. So one of the things that the daily prompts do is at least you can quickly put pen to paper. If you've inked up a new pen or new ink, then just write with it. Just say, write today's date, or write a quote that inspires you. So many people said that the idea behind the daily prompts was encouraging them to start writing. One thing that we all have in common is that we love playing with our pens and inks. So if you want to make it a habit, my advice would be that when you sit down and write or swatch a new ink, try and be mindful about it. Try and remember it and focus on the joy it kind of brings you in that moment. So try and treat it as like a fun thing for you, and then remember that the next time you want to do it and how much joy you got out of the first time. Again, easier said than done. I've tried to tell myself that and I've still not managed to sit down and write, but that's what I try to do. And then slowly, surely, it'll turn into a bit more of a routine for you. You'll sit down and look forward to it, and then it'll become a routine. So I've missed my own challenge in days on ends, but key is not to be too hard on yourself. And again, in the group, I've seen so many people say, I've missed it. Oh, I've not done it this month. I've not managed to do these prompts this month. And don't beat yourself up about it, because that's not the point. I think the point is just so that if you choose to write one day, choose a prompt from the list that inspires you and just write. I think that's everyone's goal from it. So if you've done 3 days this week instead of all 7, remember that there might have been a week where you've done none, right? So it's, again, just remember that. And also I'll try and remember to apply those rules myself. The next thing for me has been quite key, I guess, has been the growth that I've seen in my hobby, in my handwriting, in my friendships, through the community. So I look back now and see how much my collection has grown, and I've become very selective of what I buy. So as Hayes said at the beginning, I love flex nibs, and I'm quite happy with where my pen collection is at the moment, and something has to be really new, really flexy for me to actually get into it. But what I'm doing now is that because of that, I'm getting into paper. So the paper I'm using today, if you guys are interested, let me know. I can share the pens and inks and stuff I shared later. The paper I'm using is something I found from a Philippines shop called Elia Note, and that paper seems to take ink really well. So when I found it, I tried it, I played with it, really enjoyed it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, because flex nibs throw a lot of ink on paper. So I'm learning a lot every single day. The other thing is around shimmer inks. So obviously, as you can see, most of these are shimmer inks. If you were here yesterday evening, you probably got a good laugh from me trying to show shimmer on camera. I'm not going to try today. If you can see it, then great. If not, I'll take some pictures later. But essentially, those are my key kind of focuses in this hobby. So I've grown to that. I don't tend to buy pens that I don't like. So I guess I've learned not to spend that amount of money into something that I know that won't actually trigger something inside me to enjoy it and use it. The other thing is, like I said, my handwriting. So I'll show you guys something. Let me know if I can't see the chat, so I'm assuming Hayes, you can see and the writing's still okay. But this on the left was when I wrote down in August 2020, and this in June 2021. If you can see, I actually wrote lovely, slightly flexy nib. It was the first vintage pen I got. And this is nothing compared to the nibs and pens I use today. So that I can, with this challenge, when I spoke about the growth, I can actually pinpoint when I got into shimmer inks, when I got into just playing around with a bit more inks. It was just a simple A5 sheet of paper that I wrote everything down. It's a blue ink. There's not much sheen to it. It shades a little bit, but that's it. But then I went from that to this, getting into doing swatching, getting into doing more shimmer inks, more unique colors, more pens, trying different nibs. So this one is a King of Pen nib. This is a soft nib. I wouldn't say this is a flexi nib, but it gives you a good amount of line variation. And then I started putting some shimmer inks in there and doing some ink splats. And my handwriting also improved. This is a blank sheet of paper. I was able to write consistently and without any mistakes as well. So which I'm quite proud of for doing that for so long. So this is June 2021, and the other one there was August 2020. So just wanted to share that. So I mentioned I also write quotes as well. So quotes is a good way of practicing. So if you find that you're not the type of person who is inspired by these prompts, you can find a quote that's online and repeat that to kind of grow your handwriting and share your improvements in the field. So like I said, I can't really talk that much longer about just the fountain pen challenge. So I just want to say thank you. Before I move on to the kind of more interactive part where I'll write a little bit and I'll write a quote with Sunil's pen. But before I move on to that, I just wanted to say thank you. And I know it's only 15 minutes, but at least thank you for listening and thank you for taking part. I know I've been quiet in the group and not sharing as much as I used to, but I do love reading the responses. My life has certainly turned upside down in the past year. So I think we just need to keep encouraging each other to write with pens and inks and just, encourage each other, encourage me too. I would appreciate it. And then, so I miss sharing. So hopefully I get back into it in the new year. That's my kind of little slide presentation. So if there are any questions, let me know.
So there were a few questions for you in the chat while you were talking.
For it. Yeah.
There are a couple of other comments from people which I'll just read out. George said that he loves that the fountain pen challenge is personal but not intrusive. We get to share whatever we're comfortable with.
Yes.
And Helen said that she's new to the group, but having been with us for 2 months now, she's looking forward to joining the challenge next year.
Good. I'll be back to meeting the prompts up next year. And if you guys want some more writing inspiration, I guess, so on Instagram, I do share my challenge. So on my feed, you can see the previous photos of the prompts, etc. So let me know and I can chat to you about it.
The questions that turned up were on your lovely slides. Rachel asked, what was the ink that you used for the word growth?
So it was actually Diamine Magenta Flash. And it's got a really nice silver shimmer.
Ooh.
I like splatting ink, so I just splattered it with the pen, really. I tap it on my hand like that, and then it just makes ink splatters. Obviously put a sheet of paper down, otherwise my lovely white desk would have been poo brown by the end of it, but.
Brilliant. Callie asked, on your beautiful page with the ink splats in the red color, was it washi tape, the big
yes,
the flowers?
Yes, so the washi tape is from another local shop called London Gifties. I really like her work, so I use it all over my notebook, really. So let me show you that page again if I can find it. But again, all of my photos are up. I got into washis again, probably around that time. So again, you can see by me doing that challenge in August 2020, it was just a sheet of paper with nothing on the side, not even a shimmer ink, not even a yeah, so I got into washi, and then suddenly all my pages had washi tape on them, which I never thought I'd enjoy, but there you go. But I guess I think Jackie mentioned it a few talks ago that the fountain pen challenge has allowed me to see my start to finish of my hobby. So like how it's grown, how I've got into art journaling, how I've got into, yeah, just kind of immerse myself into this hobby. So I really like doing it.
That's great. Helen asked, using shimmer inks, how do you look after your pens? What's your cleaning routine like? And do you put in just enough ink for the day or what?
No, I fill it up completely full. So I'll show you. It's full normally. So this is the magenta flash that's in this pen. You can see it's on the feed as well. There's that shimmer on it. But I was going to talk about it a little bit later as well, but don't be afraid of shimmering. So I'll talk about it now. I might as well. But I mainly definitely would recommend putting it in pens that you can completely take apart. So this one is just a custom. The converter's full. Oh, it's leaking. Sorry. But the converter's full. It won't clog the pen or the feed as long as you regularly use it. One of the tips I share, if you feel that you leave your pen sideways or you leave them up or down, however you store them, mine don't stay where I put them. So my recommendation is before you start writing, and if it's got a shimmer ink in it, just roll the pen in your hand and then start writing. It just moves the shimmer around wherever it's settled to, and then it will start going again. In terms of cleaning, it will 100% take longer than cleaning out a normal ink because you'll still see the glitter particles on the feed. And if you are quite OCD about that, then I would recommend maybe getting an ultrasonic cleaner. Mine is about £20 I got from Amazon. It was quite good and it just does the job. I unscrew the feed, unscrew the cartridge converter, rinse it first, and then just put it in the cleaner. The other thing is I'm not really that fussed. So if you have small glitter particles and you fill it again, so the next thing you put in, if it's a non-shimmer, then you get that little bit of glitter particle. I like it. I personally don't mind. But do not put them in pens that have sacks on them, or even just general vintage pens with corks or anything like that. They are just harder to clean and you're likely to disintegrate the cork further than it's been in, the condition it's been in. So wouldn't recommend that, but they are fountain pen inks for a reason, and they're marketed as fountain pen inks, so you can use them in fountain pens. Don't be scared, they're fun.
Firmly agree. I particularly like having diamond golden sands in my Waterman hemisphere, and the amount of shocked gasps I get about putting a shimmer ink in a Waterman. Jim has asked, which has been your favorite prompt and where do you look for inspiration for the prompts?
So I think I don't have a favorite prompt necessarily, but I have a favorite type of prompt. I would say anything that kind of gets people swatching their inks or finding inks that they haven't used in a while, and people that take part in things like that, I think I've learned a lot from it. I certainly have. So my collection has grown massively. And if I go back and think about it and say, okay, these 10 inks I haven't used in a while, let's watch them again. Do I still like them? Do I not like them? Things like that. So it's just something that, so the type of prompt that gets you to use your inks again.
Brill. And he also asked, oh, where did it go? I scrolled. Oh no, I've lost it.
Oh, the inspiration side. So I think inspiration for the normal journaling prompt, so you know, like what you're grateful for, what you're not grateful for, type of things. I find them online. You know, like Dolly mentioned, she has inspiration on her website. I haven't specifically spotted her website before, but now I have it pinned for like future ideas and stuff. So just there. And you guys have been amazing. If I've asked for inspiration or suggestions, I've got some really fun ones. Edwin's gave me some fun suggestions about if you were a nib, what it would be. I still remember that one. That was fun.
Brilliant. I'm just scrolling through and finding all of the questions.
Thank you.
Jim also asked which prompts seem to generate the most engagement and why do you think they do? But I think you've just answered that there, because the ink swatching definitely gets lots of engagement.
And also things like fun pen combinations or any new papers you've tried, anything that's really new is quite interesting, because everyone buys something, and not even expensive, cheap, whatever, you buy something and you try it with the fountain pen. So lots of people have been sharing that. I've certainly found paper that people have used in cheap form, because as much as I like good paper that takes flat nibs, I do have certain pens and I use them for work. I refuse to use such nice paper for work. I feel like it's such a waste, and I don't even need them. So yeah.
That's fair. Val says, can you please name where you got the washi tape from again?
London Gifties, I'll share the link. I'll put the link in the chat later today.
Brilliant, thank you so much. And there's lots of lovely comments in the chat, which I'm sure you can scroll back.
I'll read them later. Yeah.
I think that was all of the questions that I've spotted so far. If there were any that I've missed, can people feel free to copy and paste them back, or just oh, Jackie has raised her hand. I will mute.
I was just going to say, I keep my shimmer inks bottom down, so the nib stays up, and then I do what Apurva does, which is then roll it before you use it. But I found that does tend to stop most clogging, because gravity helps keep any little sparkles away from the nib when resting, and it really doesn't take too much to just do that a couple of times. And then it'll be sloshed about. But I wholeheartedly agree with Apurva that choose something that you can get. So I've got this in a TWSBI Go, because you can dismantle every single piece of it to clear out the bits and pieces if you're that particular about it. But not all shimmer inks are created equal. I think that was going to be my next point. Yeah, I was going to say I'll let Apurva take over there, because that's useful to know as well. Like, that's what I was getting into as well. It kind of clicked while you were talking, Jackie, that first thing, don't put them upside down with the nib down. Any pens really, but especially with shimmer inks, you're kind of allowing the shimmer to pool at the top of the cartridge or the top of the pen if you do that. So don't put them this way around. Sideways or up is fine. As in terms of shimmer inks, if you're wanting to try them, I would start off safe with like diamine inks. My favorite that you can get easily in the UK are probably Colorverse. So there are others. Almost every brand makes their shimmer inks. If you want to go abroad, my other two favorite would be Birmingham Inks and Van Diemen's. But Colorverse, I feel like we can all get to, and they have about 5 or 6 colors, which are really nice, really fine shimmer. Diatramentis is really good, but again, their shimmer, they just have a really high quantity of shimmer, so it's more likely to clog. But I can see like a few messages going in the chat. I can't read them very well, but like it will clog. Like that's the idea of shimmer, right? It will get in the middle of the feed, but that's not anything bad for your pen. Again, like it's not actually going to destroy your pen. It might be harder to clean, but all you need is a bit of warm water and then you're fine. So yeah, broad nibs again, but there's no harm in playing around it in a fine nib either. You just will see less of it. So I'm talking about flex nibs a lot, but this is just a TWSBI Eco with a medium nib, and it's got a really cool shimmer. I like it because you can see it swirling around. So yeah. What I wanted to do, if there are no immediate questions, I wanted to show you how you can, like, again, touching on the growth part. So this is, I guess, an entry from, what's the best way to show this? So, can you guys see it? So this is from July 2020, right? This is a favorite quote of mine. And again, simple writing. I don't think I even had a flex nib back then. I probably did. I didn't know how to use it if I did. And I wrote it and I thought about it. I've written that quote a few times, but I wanted to rewrite it with like a flex writing and see how, if you want to watch me write it or if you want to join in, then you can. I'll put this quote in the chat. 2 seconds. Let me find it again. But I would encourage you to write it. It's a bit of a soppy quote, but I like it. So
Let me put it in the chat. I might not write the whole thing myself because I feel quite conscious when I'm writing, but you guys can write the whole thing. Here you go. Oh, it didn't case the whole thing. That's the first half. And then just one more final sentence. Can everybody see that? If you want to join in, feel free. I'll take 5-10 minutes, but go for it. I'll put myself on mute, but if you want to just ask questions, just shout. I think I'll stop there for now, just because I'm in an awkward spot and I can't write at the bottom of the page, but I hope that was helpful. I really like that quote. I don't know if you guys noticed it before, but I'll just read the chat.
I think it's an absolutely lovely quote. The thing that I'm astonished by is the fact that I was writing in my normal handwriting and you were doing this amazing flex calligraphy and we finished at the same sentence at the same time.
I think I was writing too fast. I don't know if you guys were watching me, if anyone was watching me. I took my pen away for a bit and I started railroading like at this point, like you can see suddenly there's a bit more shimmer in my writing. If you write at a consistent speed, like I said, I'm getting like stage fright. My hands are getting stage fright, I think. But if you write at a consistent speed and like keep rolling the pen in your hand, you don't have to prime the feed. It works quite nicely. So this pen is Sunil's good blue pen with the untipped calligraphy nib and the polymer feed. So I'll finish the quote. I'll put a photo up and show you guys. But yeah, I love the last part. Like this is my favorite part of the quote. But it's interesting how much you've grown as well, right? Now look at this. If I put them side by side, I think one of the most interesting thing that I find is just how much your writing changes. Look at that. Even my normal handwriting is better than this now. Obviously, I'm putting more effort into the flex, but
yeah, I mean, the journal that I'm writing in is one that I started when I was 12 and came back to recently. And I'm looking at my old handwriting, and I used to be known for having neat handwriting. And it's just, firstly, it's in devil stick for most of it. And secondly, it's a complete mess. Even when I've gone back as a 15-year-old thinking I'm ever so cool and correcting typos in my old diary, my handwriting is still terrible.
And also another tip, everything's falling out of my notebook, 1 second. I keep all sorts in my notebook. I don't know if you guys do that, but like on the time when a notebook finishes, I keep like postcards and stuff that I've gotten and they just stay there forever. The other thing I've done, I don't know if you saw, but I have a little pencil board. You can find them quite cheaply. It's covered in glitter, but it's actually a blank notebook and writing. So then I also had a clip to just keep it in place. Just little tips and tricks. If you guys want to practice, it makes it much better. And then, yeah, easier to write.
Is there a reason why your pencil board is white on black rather than the other way around?
Easier to see.
Is it?
I think it's easier to see. Yeah, they're both sides are that way. I mean, to be fair, I did have a white on black one. This is the one that Nuria from Good Impressions, who is my Tomorrow River paper shop, my regular Tomorrow River paper shop. She sends these with her books. So I've learned that I prefer them. And the other tip, I guess, is if you are unsure of how much pressure you need to put on it, that's where a pencil board would help as well, because you can just feel a bit more of a structure when you're pushing down. But now I've taken it off and then now it's misaligned, which I'm a bit annoyed about, just to show you guys, but I'll sort that out later. And write slowly, write really slowly. That's how you would get the consistent flex. I don't know if you have any more questions, paper, ink. If not, I have a little show and tell. I'll write with a few more pens and I'll show you some of my new acquisitions.
I'll just scroll down and see if there's any more questions.
I mean, if there is interest, please, like, if there isn't any, then I'm cool with just sitting and chatting too. If you just have random questions.
I can't see any more questions that haven't been answered. George asked who is the quote by, and then Rachel answered it was Maya Angelou.
Yeah, it was. I'm intrigued. Did any of you write it? Did most of you write it down?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Good. I'm glad. I think the whole part is just putting pen to paper, right?
Definitely.
So hope that was interesting. But this is just how I've gotten better, just copying quotes. I can show you some from my old notebook if you are interested and want some inspiration. Let me see if I can find a couple. Oh, maybe not the journaling, but here is. Let me just hide the journal a little bit. Because it's being recorded. I don't mind if you guys see it, but it's being recorded, so I don't know who else is going to see it. Here's another quote. Can't remember the pen, but it's probably an M1000. Yeah, this is the M1000 with the colorless ink. For the hoarder inside you, Jackie. I just read it again. It's just like, if you're still here.
I think I need some of those quotes, Apurva.
Yeah.
So I can write them and get them to go into my head as I'm writing them. Actually, you'd be proud of me. I've been sorting out some boxes in my office today.
Good.
There's still an awful lot of boxes still left to do, but you know, I'd be done in a year if I sorted one box every day.
This is with the Pilot Parallel nib. Just playing with some more ink and paper, different inks.
What's that notebook that you're using there?
It's just a A5 Tomer River notebook.
Right. Good impressions.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
any Tomer River notebook will do. I just like Nuria. She's lovely. Shop owner. Playing with more pens and inks. I don't know what I'm doing sometimes, just splatting ink on paper.
Is that a 52 or a 68 GSM?
68.
Yeah.
I prefer 68.
Mm.
It's just that slightly thicker, so you can still see, like, that's the quote behind it, and I'm shining light on it, so you'll see more of it, but generally you see less with 68 GSM paper. So I can probably ink a Pilot Parallel nib up if you want to see how I write with those.
Yes, please.
Bear with me. Let me show you guys this as well. So obviously a Pilot Parallel nib comes in like this type of body, right? So it's plastic, comes with the nib and the feed, and then there's usually a cartridge converter inside it. But what I do, again, I eyedropper it. So you can see there's a little bit of residue and staining inside it, but I just pour ink in this directly. What that does, it just gives us a really good flow of ink. I found online somewhere, I can't remember now, but probably somewhere on Instagram, that the Opus 88 pens, these type pens, they take the Pilot Parallel nibs really nicely. Obviously, it's an expensive upgrade to getting a £10 pen, but here's the nib. There is a little, I forget what the O-rings that are inside the Opus 88 pen. So I took that out, I put it on the nib, and then you just slot it in. So it works perfectly. And what then I do is just I pour the barrel with, you don't even need silicone grease on this. You probably would put silicone grease on the pen. So I'll put some ink in it. Back in a sec. As much as I like the Van Diemen's ink, they come with this really stupid stopper. I think it's because they haven't figured out a way to design their lids in a way that has the suction in, as in, sorry, the rubber seal inside there. I think their newer bottles do. But every time I open this, I get ink everywhere. So you might see some pink hands in a minute.
I had this problem with the Krishna inks as well in the smaller bottles. Anytime I open, I think it's elegant teal and causal that I have the stopper, and I get ink everywhere anytime I open them.
Stupid, look, it's under my nails. It looks so ugly. It's so annoying. But look, it's this thing. Like, anyway. And I can't even leave it without it because the lids aren't, I need to transfer them into something else, to be honest with you. That's probably the easier than complaining each time, but you know, as humans, we complain. Ah, shit, I spilled some. Sorry, maybe you should stop recording. This is not gonna be, or keep it. Actually, it might be interesting to record the palette parallel thing if people want to repeat it. Give me a sec. I have made a mess.
I'm sure worst case, Andrew can edit out 5 minutes.
Well, it's a trademark of a fountain pen user, right?
Absolutely.
Still amazed how Camille, I don't know if Camille was here today, but amazed at how clean her hands were, considering how many bottles of ink she has and swatching she does. I've just made a mess in the 10 seconds of talking to you guys. So, bottle, this is the Opus 88 in case you haven't seen it before. And then I've syringed some. And then in there.
I think you jinxed it. You were so worried you're gonna get ink.
I know.
No?
Oh my
And
goodness,
now
look at my
it's-
hands now.
No, yeah.
Next ink I'm going for is yellow, and it's gonna make my hands poo brown. I just call it poo brown each time, but it's literally okay. So you put the lid on, and then what you would do is put it upside down. This is gonna end badly as well, with the camera. But what the upside down does is just gets a few drops of ink to the tip of the palette parallel, and then you can see it comes out of the nib at the end, so you can see the feed has already got some ink down there. Now you can only see my hands, but I'm trying to show you.
So today Opus sales are gonna spike. Yesterday it was
Well, they're more expensive than the
reflectors.
reflectors. So,
Yeah.
so there's one.
I think the lovely thing about those Opus 88s is just how cheap they are for that filling mechanism.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're looking out for like a Japanese style eyedropper, you're looking at probably a minimum of £1,000 plus outside of Opus 88. So they do present really good value for money.
Seconding with the stupid stopper.
Is there anything particularly special? I've not actually used any of the Opus-88, so I don't know much about the system that they use. I have several Moonmans that I've eyedropped. Is there anything particularly special about the Opus-88s?
I would say it's the build quality and the vacuum filler, but I don't know if any Moonmans come with a vacuum filling.
I've not really used much in the way of vacuum filling, so that's probably why.
Yeah.
Is it
So
only
this-
the Opus 88 that fits the parallel nib?
Yeah,
or-
yeah. There are a couple others. I mean, that would be a bit tricky, but it's only these ones, the Opus 88 with the original Opus 88 models. There's Opus 88 flows that take bulk nibs and they don't fit. The pilot parallel nibs are Yovo sized, generally, the roundness of it. So.
Oh, the whole brand is called Opus 88. It's not that specific model.
No, so the clear demonstrators are just like Opus 88 and the color, so Opus 88 clear. And there are other ones that say Opus 88 flow. Again, if you want some links, once I've finished my inky messes, I can show you.
Oh, way ahead of you, shopping already.
There's a shop on eBay selling the Opus 87s at a very, very cheap price.
Oh my God.
Is
I'm
that
personally
your side
holding out for the
business?
Opus 89 for next year.
Why do I think
You
it's your
waited
side
this
business,
long,
Edmund?
Edmund.
Along with your submissive inks or whatever it was, submissive industries and Opus 87.
Exactly. Submissive hobbycraft. That was it. What was the other one called? What's the real name again? Oppressive Industries.
Dominant.
Dominant Industries. Oppressive
Industries. Oh gosh, Edmund.
What was the comments in the chat? Yeah, so sorry, Andrew, I was just actually going to announce your comment to Hayes as well. So it has a shut-off valve at the back, which reduces the risk of burping. So it's actually, vacuum fillers have a valve at the back, which are good travel pens. So these pens actually do not ever leak on me with the amount of ink that's in there.
That's great. That is definitely a plus point.
So,
because it is my deepest fear when I am refilling my Moonmans that I will end up just soaked in ink.
So even
What's
with
that?
sorry,
What's
go ahead.
that green ink, Apurva?
It's actually yellow, looks a bit greeny. It's
Okay.
Howl at the Moon.
That's Howl at the Moon. Cool.
Yeah.
Making notes here.
If you guys don't mind, I'm just going to quickly go wash my hands because I'm getting self-conscious about my hands now. Stupid, but I'll go wash my hands.
Also, can we note how she matched the ink color to the actual nib color?
Yeah.
So she
one is
did.
pink and she's got like a magenta ink. The other one's like light green. This is like attention to detail, right?
Impressive.
And even her hand colours match as well, you know. It's all,
What a
she's accessorising.
coincidence. That's commitment to the craft. It's like, well, you know,
It,
gotta
also,
match my writing.
it also says something about us, well, because we notice it.
Right? True. That's very true.
I just hope her shirt and her shoes don't match the same colour ink too.
And now you've completely jinxed it. So
Normally I don't really show my hands to anyone, right? I've never had my hands on camera. I'm now waiting for Edmund to make a funny comment, but like you never really show your hands so much. Anyway, it's not gone, but it's lighter.
It's very unlike me to comment.
Apurva, Linda asked, which ink do you use for the Mark Twain quotes that you showed us?
Was it? It was just the sheeny one. It wasn't a shimmer. I think it was just Sheen Machine, actually.
Right.
It probably will smear if I touch it. So there we go. That'll probably answer your question in a sec. This one, right? That one is just a KWZ Sheen Machine because it's crazy sheening.
Wow. Cool. Hopefully that's answered the question. I'm sure Linda will say in a moment or so.
Okay, so to writing, I will probably use a loose sheet of paper this time. Ooh, I'll use some onion skin paper if you guys haven't seen it. Okay, so the bottom sheet is just a scrap sheet, but on top of it is an onion skin paper. It will focus in a sec, I'm sure. I hope. Done. There we go. Question is, what am I writing? If anyone has quote suggestions, maybe a short quote if you want to type it up, that would be nice. I have found a quote, but unless someone has anything in particular that they want me to write, just maybe say them. It's not a quote. Another thing I do with the inks, just to mix them. So the cool thing you can do with Pilot parallel nibs is that you can touch the tips. I don't know if you know, but if you touch the tip. So now if I put the pink on the yellow and then write with the yellow, I'll get some pink shading. So
Oh, that's cool.
I'm not that good at writing with the parallel nib. I can do it. I know the technique of writing it, but if you really wanted to learn the script, there's so much inspiration online, but I just write simple lettering with it. So I put some pink on the yellow and then I'll write with the yellow. So the trick is to hold it 45 degrees to the paper and then just try not to change the angle of the nib. So let me have a think first before I. Yeah. So can you see?
Yep.
The red will start coming in, a yellow will start coming in a minute. The paper is very toothy, this onion skin paper, so I'm struggling a little bit, but it's much easier. So the yellow's now on this, the yellow, so I'll put some more pink in. See, I put too much pink in for the A. You can see you get just a hint of pink in the P here.
This is absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. The other thing you can do is just splatter some pink on the paper. So this is going to be noisy. Sorry, I might put myself on mute. And you can take that splatter into a word. So you can see that the angle that I'm putting the nib at is like 45 degrees to my actual writing. See how thin the paper is as well. Really crinkly, like the crinkly paper. My other trick, if you're learning some sort of different lettering, try and write your name over and over again, or a word that you're familiar with, because you're so used to those letters and you keep writing them. So you practice that and then you can move into it. Cool. Hope that was interesting.
That's lovely.
It was amazing, yeah. Absolutely gorgeous. I love the just like the gradient as the pink ink works its way out and it moves into the yellow. It's like the chameleon pens that you could get when you were a kid.
Yeah, there's so much cool stuff you can do with it as well. Gourmet pens on, so here. These are actually the same inks, I think, but this is one I showed earlier. So you can see that that's how I got the gradients and the yellows and the pinks. I think they're the same inks, I'm pretty sure, because I like that combination, so I just kind of went for it again. But
I thought, oh wow, that's
I was
amazing.
going to ask what that ink was. That explains that then.
Yeah,
so I did
thought
the
it was an
pink
interesting
splatters
ink.
on the page. Obviously I have got a camera right here, so it's harder for me to splatter like properly. But if you do higher up, get the small splatters, you can still see little dots. And then just write over it, ignore the dots, just write over it, and then you get random.
That's really cool.
It's pink. So that's that. That's something else I do. Oh, someone asked me about the washies. So the shop, here's some of hers. So like London Gifties. I don't know if you can see. It says London Gifties. London Gifties there. So
that's incredible. Shop. I loved that lavender washi tape.
There's loads of her designs.
I'm gonna have to make a note of this because I think I may have something very expensive in my future. I think I've held it up a few times before, but I have a very large washi tape collection.
I also like writing songs, which is also a good way to practice your writing. Cheesy songs though, that's the other thing. It's not everyone's taste, but I'll take my journaling. But here's another thing. A song I like. Who's the song by? I didn't write down who's the song by, but if you recognize it, then that's the thing.
It's taking all my power not to sing along. No.
Like I said, my main thing is just writing. Like I really enjoy writing, and in the last few months I've really missed it. And doing this for you, I've kind of like reignited it slightly over the last 10 days of the chat as well. Here's another one. But like messy writing as well, but just trying some inks. This is how my notebook goes. If you don't have a messy notebook, I highly recommend it.
I'm just thinking I would start one. It looks great.
Like so therapeutic. Look at this. Swatching inks as you get them, so you know chronologically when you've got them. So I use CNN Me today. Blizzard Twinkle is in another pen. That's a
Are they
shiny
Van
one.
Diemen's?
They are Birmingham inks.
They're Birmingham, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I love hydrangea. That's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And what's that one at the bottom there?
Which one? This one?
No, the one on the other page.
Tesla coil.
Tesla coil. Oh, I've had my eye on that
Oh.
one for a while. No wonder it caught me.
Let me show you
Gorgeous.
how I do these. Are you interested? I've got
Yeah.
so this is my current messy notebook. It's a slightly different size. 1 second. I'm coming to the end of it, but this is what I was scribbling in at the start. So for swatching, I have this thing. It's a ruling pen. So there are 2 sizes. So you can get them in big ones, but this is from Toronto Pen Company in Canada, a really nice guy again. He does grinds on Pilot Parallel nibs. So you can see this one has got a kind of funky grind, so it does some fun stuff. Most of the Pilot Parallel nibs I wrote with earlier are just straight down, but this is a ruling modification to it. So he has 2 sizes which fit in ink bottles. So we can get, I don't think I have Tesla coil here, but I have Jade Inferno. Let's see what other shade.
Can you show us one of your oppressive industries?
Okay, so this is one that people have been talking about, the oppressive industries one. This is Sunset. I would recommend this from in all seriousness, the brand is called Dominant Industries. They're sold on Pure Pens, and if you want to get them, sign up for the notifications because I think it's out of stock just now. But it's Sunset, so I'll do this one if you want.
It looks like a little potion bottle, like it belongs in a fantasy novel.
It does.
You turn into a fabulous calligrapher if you drink that all in one go. That's what I hear.
No wonder it's sold out.
Right.
So just dip it in. Try and get some shimmer in it. Let's try and take it holds a lot of ink, so you can see this fair bit of ink coming out. And then put that safely a mile away from your camera and your hands. And then turning it around, you can write with it. So. Ah, missing an opportunity. I should have written oppressive. Anyway, industries.
You can always do AKA oppressive industries underneath.
Let's go for it. I feel like I should commemorate this day, right?
Woohoo! I've made my mark on the world.
You've made your mark in my messy notebook.
Specifically, this is the thing that made your mark in the world and not like any of your amazing photographic companies. No, it's oppressive industries.
It's this. I've arrived.
Yeah, and then just dip it in water. It's brass, so it doesn't. And the nib holder is just one of those ones that holds a zebra G nib. Nothing fancy to it.
One of these guys.
Yeah, exactly that. I have a jar of water, a clean one, dirty one, like any painter would. So it's there in the corner, but off camera. It's a really fun way to swatch it. Obviously, you can do it neater, tidier, like you can try and do a straight line. I know, Hayes, you have a really cool way of just doing lines on a page.
Yeah.
Just to keep that neater chronologically as well, but it's just how I swatch my inks.
I don't know if anybody else can see because I've got you spotlighted, but this is my swatching journal.
You can remove my spotlight. Go for it.
Oh yeah, I'll remove your spotlight quickly.
Yeah,
And then I'll say a few words and I'll pop up big for
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah,
but,
I can see that.
It does.
That's how I do mine. So if I flip a few pages in, it's just straight lines on every page with all of my inks. And I recently found one of my samples that I didn't swatch. It should be up about here, but it's down at the bottom instead. It's the only problem with this method. If you miss a sample because you like just go to bed when you've got it, you can forget it.
This is the Birmingham inks one. This is Jaden Fern.
Look, Raiden Stripes. Ooh, yeah, I see that. Also, that's a high compliment. Thank you. Thanks very much, Andrew. Yeah. I think we've probably reached the point of the evening where we're now not in the talk. So shall I stop the recording?
Yeah. Thank you very much for listening, you guys, and thank you for the questions.
Have a lovely evening, everybody who is watching this on video, and I will hit stop button.